Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to this program, Daily Gita. Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Nitai Chaitanya ki jai, Parshuram Bhagwan ki jai, Vaman Dev ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are in the chapter number 10, the opulence of the absolute. So this is a very important chapter where Lord Krishna explains his opulences in detail to Arjuna. So Arjuna in today's verse is requesting Krishna to do that. So today's verse goes like this. Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 18th verse. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuyah kathayat triptirhi shrunvato nasti memrutam. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuyah kathayat triptirhi shrunvato nasti memrutam. O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So Arjuna, he's requesting Lord Sri Krishna to show or to explain about his mystic powers of opulences of Krishna. How Lord Krishna is pervading the entire universe and what are his opulences? Vibhuti. Vibhuti means opulence. So he is asking Krishna to show his opulence or to explain about all his opulences, right? And starting from tomorrow's verse on 10.20, day after tomorrow. So Krishna is going to explain each and every opulence of Krishna, right? So there'll be very, very interesting opulences that are given in the Bhagavad Gita. So now let us discuss this verse and understand this better. So here in this verse, first of all, Arjuna said, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. So first of all, it is not possible for human beings to speculate about God. It is not possible that I will create a God, right, by my own speculation. That, okay, if there was a God, he would look like this. So we are not speaking about such a kind of a God. We are speaking about a God who is originally the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, what is the proof? Proof is Pratyaksha Pramana. Pratyaksha Pramana means until I see it myself, I won't believe it. That is the evidence. That is called as the direct perception evidence. So yes, another pramana is also there. That is called as Anumana Pramana. Anumana Pramana means inductive logic. I mean, I have a logic. For example, if there is a smoke, I can deduce that there is a fire. This is called inductive logic. And there is beyond these two, we have Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana means hearing from the authority. Hearing from the authority and more particularly the Vedas. The Vedas are an authority by themselves. That means if there is any Vedic statement that need not be supported by something else, so that is automatically a pramana in itself. That is, in itself, it's an evidence. So for example, in the Vedas, if it is said that cow dung is pure, so there is no need of experimentation to check whether cow dung is pure or not. Even if you experiment also, it will be pure only. Or even with our experiment, if we are not able to perceive that it is pure, still it is true. That is called a Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana means as perfect as the Vedic statement, they say. Right? Vedic statement means itself a pramana. That is Shabda Pramana. Right? So here, the connection is that whatever Krishna is speaking, right, it is a Shabda Pramana. Right? Whatever we are hearing from Bhagavad Gita is Shabda Pramana. Krishna is saying, I am Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, where is the Pratyaksha Pramana? The Pratyaksha Pramana is that Lord Brahma has himself seen. He has seen Krishna face to face. And he spoke. And at the time, at the beginning of the creation, he saw. Right? So, who was the first person who was there in the universe in the beginning? It was Lord Brahma. Only Lord Brahma. In the beginning of the universe, when he was creating the universe, he himself saw that he has come out of one personality and there was nobody else. So he is telling that, I have seen, he is telling to his son, my dear son, I have seen myself with my own eyes that there was only Lord and nobody else. So that is the Pramana. That is called as, he is giving Pratyaksha Pramana. And we are hearing it in Shabda Pramana. Right? So this is very, very nectarian. So basically here, next the thing that Arjuna is saying is that I'm never satiated in hearing about you. Because the more I hear about you, the more I want to taste about the nectar of your words. So this Bhagavad Gita is so nectarian. We see so many people and philosophers, they say that the more we read Bhagavad Gita, the more fresh it is. It is not like a mundane literature. See, if I bring you yesterday's newspaper, you will not feel like reading it. Or if I bring you a newspaper which is 1 year old, nobody would take the interest to read that newspaper. Or if you have read the newspaper already this morning, and if I ask you to read it again, it is not interesting. Because that is mundane literature. Similarly, any kind of a fiction also, we have this experience. When we are reading different fiction novels, for the first time, there is mystery. It's so exciting, right? So, wow, there is so much of kick. So interesting storyline is going on. Second time, if I ask you to read it, maybe you will read it. Third time, no. It's so boring. There's nothing in it. You already know the story. So, but this Krishna literature is not like that. Or Krishna's words are not like that. So this Bhagavad Gita that Krishna has given is very relishable. The more we hear, the more we read, the more we want to read. Because Krishna and Krishna's words are non-different. And Krishna is ever youthful and ever fresh. Navanavaya manam. Means always fresh. Right? Every day, the more we worship Krishna, the more we feel very fresh. We don't feel that I have seen somebody, I'm seeing someone who I have already seen. No. His form is so fresh. Always fresh. Even Bhagavad Gita also, how many ever times you might have read it, there'll be always some new point that you'll get out of it. So that is what everybody says, this realization. Is it not? That I have read Bhagavad Gita multiple times in my life, but when I'm reading it now, I'm getting some different information. Right? So that's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Correct? So let's see more about it. So basically, Krishna Katha means the message of Krishna and the story of Krishna. The story of Krishna is Bhagavatam. And the message of Krishna is Bhagavad Gita. These two literatures are transcendental. They're not mundane literature. Mundane literature, I have explained you the defects. Right? After reading the literature, you will feel my time has been wasted. Or if you go to some movie, and we go to a movie, we spend money on the popcorn, and we go and we sit and we buy the tickets, and we would have shelled out a lot of bucks. By the end of it, when we come back in the evening, we feel guilty. Why are we feeling guilty? That I wasted my time. I went to a movie which has actually given me a headache. I'm not feeling more happy now. But if you hear the story of Krishna, it is of the opposite effect. It feels very purifying, very calming effect, and very, very happy, blissful effect. Srunvata swakatham Krishna, punya shravanah kirtanaha. That means by hearing the Krishna Katha, our heart is getting purified and we are getting punya. Simply we are getting that hearing itself is a pious activity. You don't need to do anything different. Simply hear, Shravanam. So hearing is a very powerful activity, and hearing Krishna Katha is very, very amazing, right? So there is another wonderful verse which says that the more we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens is Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. That means it will reduce my lamentation, it will reduce my delusion, and it will reduce my fear. So that means I will become free from lamentation, and I'll become free from delusion, mistaking something to be something else, and I'll become fearless. Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Right? So this is the wonderful thing. That is like Yasyam Vaishruyamananam Krishne Param Purushe Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsam Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. That is the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam which says about this concept. Right? That is, the more I hear Yasyam Vaishruyamananam Krishne Param Purushe, the more I hear about Krishna, what happens? Bhaktir Utpadyate means, devotion for Krishna comes from within. And then what happens? Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. No lamentation, no more lamentation, no more fear. Right? So this is called as the Brahman platform of realization. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati Nakangshati means the person who is in the Brahma Bhuta stage, he neither remembers his past and laments, nor he is worried about the future. Nashochati Nakangshati. This is the wonderful thing about Krishna consciousness. Okay. So here, Arjuna is saying that the pastimes of Krishna are very, very relishable. And whatever he is speaking is very relishable. Arjuna is enjoying it very much. You see, everybody enjoys Bhagavad Gita. You see, in the Bhagavad Gita, last verse, you know what Sanjaya says? Sanjaya says in one of the concluding verses of Bhagavad Gita, he says that the more I hear about this knowledge, right? He's saying, O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. Right? So, such a wonderful. So he's saying, Rajan Samsrutya Samvadam Imamadbhutam Keshavarjuna Yo Punyam Hrishyami Cha Muhur Muhu. So this is ecstasy that Sanjaya is getting. He's repeating a word 2 times. Rajan Samsrutya. Oh my dear king, Dhritarashtra, the more I remember, Samvadam idam adbhutam, this wonderful conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Keshavarjuna yo punyam, that is, it gives punya. Just hearing Bhagavad Gita, is punya. If you read one shloka, Bhagavad Gita, every day, it is as good as performing Ashwamedha Yajna. So when somebody who is every day listening to Bhagavad Gita shloka, such a person is getting the benefit of performing an Ashwamedha Yajna with the Dakshina, Sadakshina. That means after performing the Ashwamedha Yajna, we are supposed to give a lot of donation, right? So that donation is also automatically given. No need to give that. So that is a wonderful thing. So that is so much of pious credit we are getting from this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. That's what Arjuna is saying here, that I am enjoying this, whatever you are saying, and I am not feeling satiated. Bhuyakataya triptir. He's saying, repeat. Right? The word bhuya means repeat. Krishna also uses this word in the 10th chapter in the beginning. He says, no, bhuya eva mahabaho shrunume paramam vachaha. I'm telling you again. Krishna is telling again. Arjuna is hearing again. He is not satisfied. Arjuna is not satisfied. And Krishna is telling it more and more. So this is the quality of Krishna Katha. The more you hear, we don't get satisfaction. So that doesn't mean that it is material. It is spiritual. That means we want to hear more. We want to hear more. So there is such a wonderful description in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prithu Maharaj says, "Oh my dear Lord, if you want to give me benediction, why don't you give me millions of years so that I can hear your pastime simultaneously, 1 year for each pastime. From multiple speakers, I will just simply hear that transcendental nectarian pastimes. I just want to hear about you." Right? So this is so nectarian, right? So that's what Arjuna is saying. Bhuya kata yatriptir hi shrinvato nasti me mritam. This amritam, this is nectar. Right? So this nectar, please don't stop it. Please continue. That's what he's saying here. Right? So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse which says, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation, where the sages of the Naimisharanya, they are hearing. And who is speaking? Suta Goswami is speaking. Okay. Suta Goswami is speaking and the sages of Naimisharanya are hearing. And they're encouraging Suta Goswami. Please don't stop. Please don't stop. This is so wonderful. We are so much enjoying it. So like that, they're praising. So in that, the verse, in their ecstasy, they're saying this. Vayam tuna vitruptyama uttama shloka vikrame yachrinvatam rasajnanam swadu swadu pade pade. One can never be satisfied even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Right? Uttama shloka means glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. It says, Yachrunvatam rasajnanam swadu swadu pade pade. There is so much of taste. So the word swad means taste. Pade pade means at every step. Swadu swadu pade pade. It's so tasty. At every step it is tasty. Every chapter of Bhagavad Gita is wonderful. So when we start with the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first shloka of Bhagavad Gita also we get goosebumps. Every time, if we just simply hear what Dhritarashtra has questioned, the beginning itself gives us goosebumps. Right? When the setting of the scene of Bhagavad Gita happens, we get goosebumps. The way how, Krishna and Arjuna, they blow their conch shells. It is so amazing. And then Arjuna suddenly, he becomes, he changes his mind and he says, Krishna, I shall not fight. So that is such a twist, sudden twist, right? And then he says, but I don't know what I'm doing, whether it's correct or wrong. You tell me whether it's correct or wrong. I am surrendering to you. I am in a miserly weakness and I'm not able to compose my mind. I am your disciple now. And then Krishna, he starts speaking Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. It's very surprising what Krishna speaks in the 2nd chapter. He says, do not lament about the dead or the living. Ashocyananva shochastvam prajnavadamsya bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. No, a wise person does not lament even for the living or the dead. And he starts speaking about the soul. Right? And he starts speaking about the characteristics of the soul in detail. And he speaks about the Karma Yoga. And he speaks about the qualities of a man with a steady intelligence. Sita prajna. Sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. Arjuna asks, what are the qualities of a person who is in steady intelligence? And Krishna says the qualities. Rajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. Atmanyev atmanatushta stita prajnas tvadochate. Person who is given up all kinds of desire and who is completely steady in consciousness. Such a person is called man in intelligence. And Krishna continues to speak in the 3rd chapter. That is also wonderful. Karma Yoga. He speaks about the yajna, sacrificial offerings. Right? Why? Yajnartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. That we must offer or we must do work as an offering to the Lord Vishnu. Otherwise, the work becomes a bondage. So nobody has taught us this thing. Who has taught us how to work? We know generally what work we have to do, but we do not know how to work. The consciousness of working, Krishna is explaining. The 3rd chapter. Right? And after that, he is explaining about the dangers of the desire, kama, how it is our enemy. And in the fourth chapter is transcendental knowledge. Krishna is explaining about the avatars, why he is taking repeatedly birth again and again, and what is the purpose of that avatars. He's explaining about different types of fire sacrifices that are there. Correct? And then he's explaining in the fourth chapter at the end that we must surrender to a guru and acquire this transcendental knowledge. And in the fifth chapter, Krishna is explaining about the dangers of sense gratification and how a person in Krishna consciousness must work. That whatever work we do, we are keeping Krishna in the center. That is action in Krishna consciousness. Krishna explains about what is karma and what is prohibited karma. Action, prohibited action, and inaction. He's explaining that if we work for Krishna, this is called inaction. If you are doing as per the Vedas, doing some pious activity, that is action, karma, good karma. Vikarma means opposite. Do not do this. Vedas would have said, doing that vikarma. Akarma means working in Krishna consciousness. Krishna explains about that in detail. 5th chapter. 6th chapter, Krishna is explaining about the yogi. That is about dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga. And he explains about the importance of mind control. How a yogi must control his mind very strictly. Go to a solitary place, sit down with his back erect, right? And meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead with all his senses shut. And then Arjuna expresses his inability to follow the instructions. He says, oh my dear Krishna, my mind cannot be controlled. Vayureva hi dushkaram. It's like the wind. I cannot control my mind. It is so powerful. How can I control it? Right? So that's what. And then Krishna agrees and says, yes, asamshayam hi mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. Yes, no doubt, mind is difficult to control. But with practice and detachment, it is possible to control the mind. Right? And Krishna concludes with his explanation about what happens to a yogi who is fallen. Even if somebody takes to Krishna consciousness, for a short term also, he'll be born in a very rich family or in a righteous family after having enjoying thousands of years in the heavenly planets. And if somebody has taken Krishna consciousness for a long time, he'll be born in the family of transcendentalists, in the family of devotees. And that birth is glorious, Krishna says. And he concludes the chapter by saying that among all the yogis, yoginam api sarvesham, who is the best yogi? Who is the best yogi? Madgatena antaratmana, who is worshipping me? Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. Krishna conscious devotees are the topmost yogis. And Krishna consciousness is the topmost yoga system. Krishna concludes in the 6th chapter. And in the 7th chapter, he explains about the absolute. Right? Krishna starts speaking about the material nature, how it is coming from him. Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahamkara iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtada. That is, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, all of them, including mind and intelligence, and false ego, they are separated energies of Krishna. Right? What is saying? Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankaram iti yamme bhinna prakriti ashtada. These 8 things are bhinna prakriti, external energy of Krishna. And he's saying that the living entities, he's saying apareyam itastvanyo prakritim vidhi me param. So that is, these living entities are superior energy in comparison with material dead matter. Living entities are superior. And Krishna is saying, I am source of the matter and spirit. He is the source of spirit and matter both. That's what Krishna is saying. And then Krishna is speaking about 4 kinds of people who do not come to him. Right? Namam dushkruti no mudha prapadyante na radhama Mayaya pahrita jnana asuram bhavam ashrita. He's openly saying, anybody who doesn't come to me, he's a dushkritina, miscreant. Right? What are the categories? Mudha means a person who is working like an ass. That is Mudha. And Naradhama, a person who does not follow any kind of rules and regulations in life. Or Maya Pahrita Jnana, a person who is in illusion, delusion. Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. That means he is taken to a demoniac kind of a conclusion. Or an open atheist, atheistic, demon. Atheistic and demon, they are synonyms. There is no difference between that. Nobody can say, I am a good atheist. That's not possible. It is a demon only. Atheistic demon, Krishna says. Right? Maya Pahrita Jnana. Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. Asura. Asura means atheist, who has openly rejected God. And he's saying 4 kind of people come to me. And the people who come to him are Sukrutina. Krishna is saying they're very, very pious people. That they're not ordinary. Right? So like that, Krishna is telling that he is not manifest to the foolish and unintelligent people. Right? And that he knows everything in the world. And those who are free from delusion, they understand the position of Krishna. And what do? They engage in the service of Krishna with determination. And the 8th chapter, Krishna is talking about the attaining the Supreme. Attaining the Supreme means how to attain Krishna. We can attain Krishna by remembering Krishna at the time of leaving our body. Antakalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayadi samadbhavam nastyatra na samshaya. Yati nastyatra samshaya. Krishna is saying there is no doubt. There is no doubt. Anybody remembering me at the time of leaving the body will come back to me. And he's saying, if you don't remember me and if you're remembering something else, that state you will attain. Whatever state, yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavita. If you are not Krishna conscious, and at the time of leaving the body, we get that consciousness. That is very dangerous. Therefore, what is the conclusion? The conclusion, 8th chapter, Krishna is saying, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Therefore, Arjuna, always think about me in the form of Krishna. And at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. Mamanusmara yudhyacha. Anusmara, remember me, yudhyacha, fight. You always remember me and do your prescribed duties. This is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. And do your duties. Whatever duties we are doing, no need to stop them. Continue doing them. But do not forget Krishna even for a moment. And Krishna explains about how different yogis, dhyana yogis, jnana yogis, they go to the transcendental abode with the different kinds of yoga practices. And Krishna explains about the light, path of light and path of darkness. How a person who is not following the yoga will have to come back to this material world. And how a person who is following the yoga system is going back to Godhead. That is the Shukla Gati and the Krishna Gati. In the 9th chapter, Krishna is speaking about the most confidential knowledge. He's saying, I am giving you this knowledge because you are not envious of me. Right? And just by hearing this, your miseries of material world will be gone. Right? And this is the king of the knowledge. Raja Vidya Rajagukyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam. This is king of knowledge. This is Raja Vidya Rajagukyam Pavitram. So there is a royal knowledge. What is that royal knowledge? Maya tatavidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me. I am not in them. So all the beings are resting in Krishna. Just like how Krishna shows the pastime to Yashoda, he opens his mouth when he is eating mud. And he's showing the entire universe within him. So all the living beings are resting within Krishna. And he's saying that this cosmic world is under the control of Krishna. And is getting manifested again and again and getting annihilated at the end. Right? And he says that he is not going to be bound by this work. Just because he is doing the work of creation, maintenance and destruction, it doesn't mean that he is bound by that work. Just like us. Krishna is warning us, do not be bound to the work. So is Krishna bound? That he has karma? No, Krishna doesn't have karma. And those people who think that Krishna has karma and therefore he has to come. What is Krishna saying? He is saying they are fools. Right? What he says? Avajananti mamudha manushim patanum ashritam parambhavam ajananto mama bhutam aveshwaram. Parambhavam ajananto, those people who are accusing Krishna that he is affected by karma, he is affected by maya, they are called as mudha. Mudha means foolish. And what is the problem with them? Parambhavam ajananto, they do not understand the transcendental nature of Krishna. Right? His supremacy, they don't understand. And in the demoniac and atheistic conclusion, their knowledge, their fruitive activities, their liberation, everything is defeated, Krishna says. So actually, in the Vedas, there are so many demigod worship is described. But if we don't worship a particular demigod, the Vedas do not condemn us. But if we do not worship Krishna, the Vedas will thoroughly condemn. Person, if he is not worshipping Krishna, means it is like he will be thoroughly condemned by the Vedas. So that is compulsory. It is like, there is a compulsory question, there is an optional question. This is compulsory. And if we do everything except Krishna consciousness, the Vedas says it's a waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevala means completely time wasted. But if we do only Krishna and do nothing else, that is also good. Perfect. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja. That is perfect. But if we do everything except Krishna, then it is all waste. Complete 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. You can add some 100 zeros. It is still 0. If you add Krishna, 1, 1 0, 10, 1 0 0, 100, 1 0 0, 1000. Right? So that, like that, Krishna is explaining in the 9th chapter about how he accepts with devotion. How he accepts with devotion. Even if we offer a leaf or a flower or water, Krishna will accept it. And Krishna is explaining about the glorious position of the devotees. Right? He's saying, even if one commits the most abominable action, he is considered to be saintly. He is considered to be a saint. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He's saying, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Means if we become the devotee of Krishna, there is no chance of fall down in materialism or spirituality. Because it is Krishna's promise. Name bhakta pranashyati. That is God's promise. And anybody can go back to Krishna. That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So the conclusion of the 9th chapter is, Manmanabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mami vaishyasi yutvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So Krishna is saying, become my devotee. Think of me always. Then you will come to me. And now we have come to the 10th chapter. In the 10th chapter, name is Opulence of the Absolute, where Krishna starts speaking about his position that nobody knows him. And he's telling that I am going to speak something which is better than what I have spoken so far. In all the 9 chapters, this chapter is still better. This knowledge is better than what I have already explained. And the demigods cannot understand Krishna. The sages cannot understand Krishna because he is the source of demigods. He is the source of the sages. And he is unborn, beginningless. And he is only undiluted person understands the position of Krishna. And only when we understand that Krishna is the supreme, then sarva papai pramuchyate. All the sins are cleared for a person who understands Krishna's position. And he has explained so far that all the living entities are coming from the progenitors of the mankind. Right? 25 people he mentions. The 4 Kumaras, right? And the 7 great sages and the 14 Manus, right? They have come from me and all the living entities have come from them. So indirectly, everybody has come from Krishna. So that's what Krishna says. And he's saying that he is the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. and everything emanates from him. And a wise person who knows this starts to engage in devotional service of Krishna. And Krishna explains about the glorious position of the devotees of him, that these pure devotees, their activity is only one. They are always dedicated to Krishna's service. And they are enlightening each other and by conversing about Krishna. Right? And then he says that to such a people, I give them knowledge to come to me. And he shows them special mercy by destroying their ignorance in their heart with a shining lamp of knowledge from within. Right? And after hearing this, Arjuna has become ecstatic, and then he started to praise Krishna. He started to praise him and glorify him. And he's saying that, yes, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the past, Asita, Narada, Vyasa, Devala, they have all confirmed. Now you have confirmed it. Right? Everybody has confirmed. You yourself are declaring it. I totally accept you as the truth. Sarvametatri manye, I accept. So Sarvametatri manye means I am accepting unconditionally that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, nobody can understand you. Neither the demigods nor the demons can understand you. You are the origin of the world, the God of the gods. Now you please tell me in detail about your divine opulences by which you pervade these worlds. Right? How shall I think of you? How shall I remember you? What form shall I remember? I mean, how do I remember you? Because Krishna is Adhokshaja, we cannot see him. But how do I remember you from your opulences? Because you are everywhere, there must be some opulence of yours, which I can see and remember you. For example, if we see the sun, we see the sunlight, we can remember Krishna. If we see the moon, we can remember Krishna. If we drink water, we can remember Krishna. So like that, if we see an intelligent person, we can remember Krishna. So these are all the opulences of Krishna. So like that, we can remember Krishna. Therefore, he is asking, please tell me, oh my dear Lord, please tell me the detail of your mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. The more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So this is Arjuna's realization. He wants to hear more and more. So this should be our attitude, that I want to hear more and more. Whatever Krishna is speaking, this is so amazing. This is Shabda Pramana. It is for our benefit. Every word, every syllable is important. Every shloka is important. Right? It is of our benefit. Even if we can implement only one verse of Bhagavad Gita, our life will become perfect. Even if we can realize half a verse of Bhagavad Gita, our life will become perfect. Even if we can utter one word of Bhagavad Gita and properly follow it and understand it, our life will be perfect. So this is the wonderful message of Bhagavad Gita. So please keep coming to this program. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for joining. Just a second. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Swayam Prabha Mataji.